now, let us discuss what is writing. So writing is the process of using symbols, letters of the alphabet, punctuation, and spaces to communicate thought ideas in readable form. Writing is a way of exploring ideas, and it is a medium of communication that represents language through inscription of sign and symbol. In order to write clearly, understanding the basic system of language is necessary. This includes knowledge of grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, and vocabulary. Graham 2021 gave 4 recommendations to teaching writing in elementary grades. Number 1 is provide daily time for students to write. Writing is the fourth of the language communication skills. So meaning to say, when we're teaching or writing to the students, you need to do it daily for them to practice their writing. Because writing is one of the important and communication. When students develop their skills in writing, they will become effective writers. Number 2, teach students to use the writing process for a variety of purposes. Writing is not just simply documenting ideas as they come to mind. Meaning to say, writing is not just the documenting in your mind, but it is also include your purposes. You have to plan out what is the purpose of your piece and consider how your reader interpret or understand your work. So now, we have a steps of writing process. Number 1, teach students strategies for the various components of the writing process. Meaning to say, teacher were not focusing in teaching one strategy only to the learners. We must teach them different strategies in writing process because our main goal is to develop them. The next steps of writing process is gradually release writing responsibility from the teacher to the students. Writing strategy should be taught explicitly and directly through a gradual release of responsibility from teacher to the students. Meaning to say, role as a teacher, especially in writing process or responsibility, you need to pass them to the pupils. So the next steps of writing processes is guide students to select and use appropriate strategies. So as a future teacher, we are not only teaching what are those strategies to be used, but then you need to teach them and discuss how to use strategy throughout the writing processes, as well as why strategies are helpful in the learners. And lastly, provide students with opportunities to give and receive feedback. So once a learners learn how to manage and use their writing strategies, let them manipulate themselves to use this strategy by their own. It means you letting your student and encouraging your learners to be flexible in using of writing process. Number 3, teach students to become fluent with handwriting, spelling, sentences construction, typing, and word processing. So we have 3 considerations to carry out this recommendation. Number 1 is teach very young writers how to hold a pencil correctly and form letters. So meaning to say, before you teach the writing to the learners, you need to demonstrate how to hold the pencil properly and how to hold the pencil in comfortable way. You should demonstrate how to write properly the each letter, either cursive or not cursive. The next is teach students to spell words correctly. Meaning to say, teaching writing consider also the proper spelling of words. As a future teacher, you have to connect the writing words correctly. You have to encourage them to correct the word they also misspelled. And lastly, teach students to construct sentences for fluency, meaning, and style. So meaning to say, to teach fluency and writing, ask the learners to construct sentences and let them know its meaning and put a style to their writing. You have to encourage them to construct a sentences that can attract the readers. And of course, constructing the sentences, they need to consider its meaning and the syntax in the proper punctuation. So number 4, create and engage community of writers. So meaning to say, in teaching writing as the future teacher, we are not just focusing in the four corners in the classroom. Develop also the involvement of the community for you to establish a supportive environment, and also the writers in the community will help you in teaching writing to the learners. And as a future teacher, you have to take part in writing lessons and activities. Teachers convey the message that writing is an important value and reward. So we have 4 how to carry out the recommendation. So number 1, teachers should participate by writing and sharing their writing. So to encourage the involvement of the community as a future teacher, we need to show up and sharing writing. You should be a model on how the writing affect your daily life. Demonstrate how writing helps you in a communication and how writing helps you to express yourself. For example, a teacher could draft a letter or an email to a friend of students, thinking out loud to make the invisible act of composing, which occurs internally for experienced writers, more visible to the students. Number 2, give students writing choices. So in teaching writing, let your students have a freedom to choose topic what they want to write. All you need to do is to instruct them and guide them to write, because learners more likely to write when they express their thought. The third is encourage students to collaborate as writers. So meaning to say, in teaching writing, develop also a collaboration to other writers. For example, brainstorming about a good topic, they will write and responding to draft and helping each other to revise their works. And lastly, provide students with opportunities to give and receive feedback. So meaning to say, give the opportunity to share the meaning of the writing of their works, and after that, let the learners have a feedback, either it is a written or verbal feedback. Viewing refers to perceiving, examining, interpreting, and construction meaning from visual images, and it is crucial to improving comprehension of print and non-print material according to Barrett 2016. So viewing is a process that supports to the learners' oracy and literacy. Viewing helps learners in reflecting and thinking about the image they are seeing and develops their knowledge, skills in analyzing, evaluating visual and multimedia tasks.
Kang 2004 as stated by Barrett 2016. So we have 4 general types of visual organizer. So these are number 1, web-like organizers such as spider map and semantic map. Number 2, hierarchical organizer which include concept map and network tree. Number 3, matrix organizer such as the compare and contrast matrix. And lastly, linear organizers like the Venn diagram, continuum, chain of events, and storyboard. So these organizers used when teaching reading to make students have better conceptual framework of their existing knowledge and new knowledge. Further, these visual organizers allow learners to actively construct and interpret information.